Hello, welcome to video lecture on communication technology for IoT. In this lecture, we will discuss Bluetooth, low energy, Zigbee, Wi-Fi and RFID technologies used for the IoT, that is Internet of the Things. Now we will start with Bluetooth low energy technology. Remember that the Bluetooth and BLE is two different technology and which is not compatible with each other. Bluetooth low energy technology is a recent technology. It is an advanced technology that uses low energy for the communication. So basically this is used to communicate between the two devices whenever we require to transfer data or to exchange the data between two devices. If you want to establish the connection between two devices, two things, that is smart devices, then we have to use a protocol. So here we are observing that how the Bluetooth low energy protocol can be used here. So in this case it has the four layers, that is Bluetooth low energy BLE has the four layers: the link layer, that is BLE master or slab layer, then network layer L2 CAP, L2 cap, transport layer, that is attribute protocol ATT, application layer, that is generic attribute profile GATT. So basically if you see here, it is a newer technology and it is compatible, it is not compatible with the classical Bluetooth technology, and it is only developed for the low power applications. And whenever the data is exchanged in classical Bluetooth, data is exchanged in a very frequent manner, but in case of the BLE the data exchange in a very less frequent manner. A BLE device, here we have the two configuration in link layer, that BLE can be used as a master or Bluetooth low energy technology can be used as a slave. So any devices that uses BLE protocol, it can be in master mode or in slave mode. Here we have the two different modes here. One is master mode and other is slave mode. And here whenever we want to start the communication, then in case of the BLE the master start the communication and slave always acts as the receiver. The master can have several slaves connected to the master, while a slave can link to only one master. Now if you connect in a group, if you create a group here using BLE technology, and here if you connect a group and several slavs, that is many number of the slavs, if you connect to a one master, then it is called as the piconet. Whenever the number of slavs or more different slavs are connected to the master, then it is known as the piconet. Now to make the data available, the master devices passes a frame, that is called as the data frame, or it is also known as the data messaging protocol. So using this data messaging protocol, the master sent a particular predefined frame to the slavs, and here the slave will respond to that message. So typically a gateway devices is used in case of the Bluetooth, so that it will going to link to the internet. So it translates the data from the BLE nodes into the appropriate format for the data messaging over the internet. So appropriate data conversion is done using the gateways that will going to convert the BLE node format data to the data which is required for the internet. So mainly we have the four layers of the Bluetooth energy devices. Application layer is generic attribute profile GATT, attribute protocol ATT, and L2 cap. So basically the Bluetooth low energy devices are mainly utilized for the communication between the two devices, and it is the low energy, it is used very low energy for the communication. Next is the Zigbee. Now it has the four layer, the link layer which is IEEE 802.15.4, Then network layer, that is AODV protocol is used in case of the network layer. Transport layer, application support sublayer. Application layer, that is ZDO, user defined. So here main thing is that we can use ZDO, or we can use application layer that is defined by the user. So this is the network layer of the Zigbee. So basically it converts the multiple layer of the protocol stack. So it has the actually it has the very multiple layer, because we know that the standard IEEE 802.15.4 is basically has the complex structure or complex layers, and it has the several different parts, that is network protocol, transport layer, and the application framework. So here the application framework here, that is ZDO, we can define the ZDO, or we can define the application layer that is defined by the user. So user or customer can develop the application layer in case of the Zigbee. So this is the advantage of Zigbee over Bluetooth, is that we can develop the application over the Zigbee, whereas in case of Bluetooth we have the generic attribute profile, that is GATT, as application layer, and it is fixed. The user cannot customize the application layer, whereas in case of the Zigbee the user can be defined the application. So depending on the requirement of the user, he can develop the customer or developed applications here. So our customer can develop the customized application depending on his requirement. The range is 100-meter line of sight, but can travel the long distance by passing data through a mesh network of other Zigbee network. So here we can define the mesh network that is made up of the several big Zigbee devices. So if we connect the several Zigbee devices together, it will form the mesh network, and the data rate is low. The devices is very simple in case of the Zigbee. It is fully function device, and here uh, the device which acts as the network, or it can we can see here the mesh network here. In case of the mesh network, one device is here, that is acts as the coordinator. One device is coordinator, where if you observe here other the router, then end devices is connected. So this is the Zigbee personal area network. So one there is a one coordinator that will operate in both star and mesh topologies. That will going to reduce the devices can only communicate with the coordinator and works in a star topology. So you remember that Zigbee can be configured into a mesh network. It can be have different topologies like mesh, like star topology, and the other mesh topologies, ring topologies, etc. So here we can configure the mesh network of Zigbee into the topologies that is the required by us. So here the advantage of Zigbee is that we have a personal area network, that is called as the PAN. Now in case of the PAN, we have the three different devices already we have seen here. One is coordinator, router, and the last device is the end devices. The coordinator is going to initialize the network. So network formation is done using the coordinator device. So there is one and only one network is there, so we require only one coordinator. For one network we require one coordinator, and this coordinator can also be work as a router. So you remember that this coordinator can be work as a router. It serves as the it serves as the uh, data handling, and it has some repository data storage, and it has the several security keys. So coordinator having the repository, it also have some uh, storage of security data, then keys, then ciphers, etc. It so here this coordinator plays very important role in case of Zigbee PAN. It going to initialize the network. One network has only one coordinator, so it has the data, that is the very much repository data that is used during this area network. Whenever the data exchange or data transfer takes place in the network, the repository will be written here. Then it has some several securities added inbuilt in the Zigbee network, that is personal area network, and the ciphers or security keys can be stored in this coordinator. We know the router device, which is optional, and it can join with a coordinator or another router devices, acts as a multi-hoop intermediary in routing of messages. So intermediary messages or intermediary message can be transferred using these router devices. So mainly we have the two option. First option is we can implement a router, or second option is that we can use the Zigbee device as a router. So here this one is optional, and we can use the Zigbee device as a router also, or we can implement a dedicated router. Last device is the end device. So its functionality is just to communicate to only coordinator, and it is optional and cannot participate in routing of message. Now you can observe here the end devices. So this end devices is connected to only coordinator. It is not connected to the anybody. So this will going to communicate with the coordinator, and it is not able to communicate with the other devices. Mainly there is the devices is only communicating with the coordinator. So personal area network. So here we can form the personal area network using Zigbee devices. So here the routing protocol is reactive. It is going to create or set the route path on the demand, and instead of proactively, such as the IP protocol. So in case of the IP protocol, there is a proactive requirement, but if you see here in case of the personal area network, it is on demand route is going to establish. So on demand route is going to establish using this Zigbee protocol. So when we configure the Zigbee into personal area network, then the routing protocol is reactive. So whenever there is a demand, then and then only a routing path is going to establish, otherwise there is no any routing path. So it is a reactive network. The protocol is used to establish the connection is ad hoc on demand distant vector, that is known as the AODV. AODV protocol is used whenever we require the connections. So when the destination is going to find out by the scanning the neighborhood devices, then the AODV protocol is used. Now you remember that here in this case suppose the coordinator is going to send the message. That message is transferred to the all Zigbee devices. It will going to scan, and when the message is transferred, then using the AODV protocol, it is going to scan for which devices the message is transmitted. If the devices is found, then it will establish the connection and it will going to transfer the data. So Zigbee network is a very secure network, and it uses the encryption, that is 128-bit AES type encryption. Now there are different advantages of Zigbees because it is a reliable, it is robust, low power requirements, global, and which is very secure. So in case of the personal area network, the networks are self-forming and self-healing. Devices can operate for years without needing a new battery. Solar power could be used for longer duration. The wireless protocol is built in so that the wireless protocol is available the globally in nature. The security is provided and the well standard encryption method is used. The disadvantage is that it is not free, so we have the cost is more, and we require the licensee for using the Zigbee. It is low data rates. It is not designed to support the higher data rates, so it has some low data rate. It is the disadvantage of Zigbee. The star network is limited. The coordinated device supports up to 65000 devices, that is 65,000 devices only. So these are the drawbacks of the Zigbees. The Zigbees are used in home automation, utilities monitoring and control, smart lighting, building automation, security system, and medical data collection. Another communication technology is the Wi-Fi technology. So after Zigbee, you observe the Wi-Fi technology. This is very much popular technology, and it has, I am shown here the two layer, that is link layer and network layer. The link layer is consist of the two type of protocols. One is known as the LLC protocol, and next one is the MAC, that is MAC protocol. Then the network layer uses the IP protocol. So basically it uses the internet protocol as the network layer. So Wi-Fi is wireless network that follows IEEE 802.11 specification. So I recommend that you have to remember the protocol IEEE 802.11 and download the specifications of the IEEE protocol 802.11 protocol, so that you will get the more information about this protocol and how the Wi-Fi will work. It is a global method, that is Wi-Fi used everywhere globally throughout the world. So many IoT devices uses the Wi-Fi connectivity to connect to the internet. So in case of the internet of the things that is the smart devices has the Wi-Fi connectivity, and through the Wi-Fi connectivity it is going to connect to the internet. So to connect the Wi-Fi local area network, we can develop the WLAN. It is also very much popular nowadays, that is known as the Wi-Fi local area network in day-to-day life. So many offices, many laboratories, many institutes can be covered into a network that is known as the Wi-Fi LAN. So WLAN is much more popular nowadays. So here a device needs a network interface controller, and this may be separate controller card or simply integrated as a part of the chipset inside the device. As we know, the IoT is much more emerging branch. So the smart things could able to connect to the internet. In that case, we can implement the Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi can be implemented in the smart devices, or we can connect the another devices or another controller card to have the connectivity between the smart devices and the internet via the Wi-Fi. So communication uses the Ethernet style data packets over pre-identified the radio communication band, because we know that the network layer is the IP protocol. So network layer has, or it will work on the IP protocol. Because it uses the IP protocol, all the data packets, it is in the form of the IP style. So here the Ethernet style data packet is used in case of the communication. So network protocol layer higher up in the stack, that is it uses, that is TCP or UDP protocols, and there is guarantee of data delivery. IoT devices connected to the Wi-Fi access point and usually connected to the Ethernet network, and that has the internet access. So mainly in case of the IoT device, we require the internet connection, and that can be established through this Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi offers a very fast data rates, but it requires more power, and because of that more power, what we have, the fourth generation communications. So universally it is more attractive for the IoT devices, and now the standard such as 802.11h are designed for low power Wi-Fi's. You remember that Wi-Fi is the used heavily for the connectivity options for the IoT. There are common uses for the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is commonly used in the following specifications: home automation, Amazon Dash button, home security, manufacturing plant machine monitoring, and many more where the Wi-Fi could be used. The next communication technology is the RFID communication technology. Basically, it is known as radio frequency. RF means radio frequency, ID means identification. Radio frequency identification is the technology that will going to identify the track, or it will going to track the tags. So it is going to identify the tags which is attached to the object. So basically this technology is developed to identify the tags by transmitting the radio frequency. So radio frequency is transmitted through some transmitter media. Then it uses the electromagnetic waves, and the tags are reacted to these electromagnetic waves. So basically RFID is used to identify the tags. RFID technology is used to identify the tags, and after identifying we have the uh, different applications, and according to that application we are taking the decision. So RFID system includes basically the three parts are there. One is tag, one is reader, and one is antenna. So there are three different systems we are using in RFID, that is tag, reader, that is reader is known as the tag reader, and one antenna that is going to transmit the electromagnetic waves. So basically the waves are in the radio frequency range. The reader sends whenever we want to establish, whenever we want to identify or establish the connection to the tag. Basically a reader is going to initialize the communication. So reader is going to transmit the signal to the tag, and via this antenna, and when the tag receives that signal it going to respond. So this is a very simple structure of RFID. The reader is going to transmit a particular signal to identify the tags. When tag receives that electromagnetic waves transmitted from the antenna, then the tag is going to respond. So RFID tags can be either active or passive. So there are two types of the tags. One is active tag and other is the passive tags. Active RFID tags have their own power supply, whereas passive tags don't have their power supply. It going to develop its own power source using the electromagnetic energy transmitted by this antenna. So if the tag is a passive tag, then the source, that is energy, is developed with the help of the electromagnetic energy transmitted by this antenna. So RFID transmitted from the RFID readers. So therefore, if we read over a short distance of very less than the 25 meter in case of the passive tag, in case of the active tag we can go up to the 100 meters. So these are the range of the RFID. You remember that in case of the radio frequency identification in RFID, the reader transmit the data or signal. So when reader transmit the signal, it is converted into electromagnetic waves using the antenna. Then it is received by a tag, and the tag will respond to this signal. Tag having the two types, one is active and passive. So active tag having the 100 meter of the distance. So up to the 100 meter we can use the tags. If we require a very less distance, that is less than the 25 meter, then we can use the passive tags. You can see here the frequency ranges used for the RFID. That is low frequency range, that is 125 kilohertz to 134.2 kilohertz. Range is 10 meter. Data speed is low, and basically tags are the passive tag. So passive tags are going to develop the source or energy from the electromagnetic waves. High frequency, that is 13.56 megahertz, that is HF, high frequency. The range is somehow in between the 10 10 centimeter to 1 meter. It is low to moderate data speed, and we are using the passive tags. Then ultra high frequency, that is 433 megahertz. The range is 1 meter to 100 meter. Data speed is somewhat moderate, but it is greater than these two LF and HF frequencies. Here we can use the passive or active tags. Ultra high frequency, the range is 856 megahertz to the 960 megahertz. Range is 1 to 12 meter. It is moderate to high, so the data rate or data speed is greater than this UHF, that is 433 megahertz. We can use passive or active tags. The microwave range, the range is 1 to 2 meter only. The microwave having the frequency in terms of the gigahertz, that is 2.45 to 5.8 gigahertz. The data speed or data transfer rate is very high as compared to these four technologies or four radio frequencies. The tags are used are only active tags. Another range is the microwave range, where the frequency range is 3.1 to 10 gigahertz and the range is less than the 200 meter. Data rates are high and we are using the active tags. So depending on the range, we can select the frequency band, and depending on our requirement, we can also have the frequency range. Then in case of these two, we can use the passive tags, but here in the microwave range, we have to use the active tags. So RFID system can be classified into the three parts depending on the tag and reader. In first case, suppose it has a passive reader and active tag. So system has a passive reader which only receives radio signal from the active tags or battery operated tags. And here the tags are only in the transmit mode. The reception range of the passive reader active tag system reader can be adjusted from 1 to 200 feet or 0 to 600 meter. So it allows some flexibility in the application such as asset protection and supervision. So in case of the passive reader active tag, the active tag always transmit the signal to this reader and reader will develop its energy from that waves, that is electromagnetic waves. Next is the active reader and passive tag. So here ARPT, active reader and passive tag. So system has the active reader which actively transmit the signals and which will going to received by this tag, and after authentication that it will respond, the tag will respond to the reader. So basically the active reader transmit the signal. After receiving the signal, the tag will respond or tag will respond to the active reader. Third is the active reader and active tag. So this is known as the ARAT. So this system uses active tags and that will going to send the signal. So basically the tags are going to transmit the signal and here the reader will going to receive it. The variation of the system could also be the battery operated tags and the passive tags, like a passive tabs, but one thing is that the small battery is connected, so here it will generate its own energy. So basically this is more popular as we see the active reader and active tag in case where we require accurate precision or where the security threats are more. But the active reader and passive tag is much more popular in the day-to-day applications where we require a very small security. So fixed readers are set up to create a specific zone here, and that is tightly controlled with these signals and define the reading area for when the tags go in and out in this case of the zone. So mobile readers can be handled or mounted on the car or vehicle so that we can easily identify the cars or vehicles. So RFID can be used in a variety of applications like access management, tracking of goods, tracking of persons and animals, toll collection and contactless payment, machine readable travel documents, smart dust. Basically it is the sensor network, that is distributed sensor network, airport baggage tracking logistic, theming supports events, tracking and billing process. So these are the comparison of different technologies used here. Here I'm used the most of technologies which is used for the communication. So out of here we have seen the Bluetooth low energy technology, then we are seeing the Zigbee, Wi-Fi and RFID, and we are comparing with the other technologies also. You can see this chart. So in this lecture we have seen the communication technology for the IoTs. In that we have seen the Bluetooth low energy technology, Zigbee technology, Wi-Fi technology and RFID. Thank you.